Back here on SportsLine talking SEC Media Days. Phone lines still open, 737-7767 if you'd like to get on the program. We just heard from Vanderbilt coach Derek Mason, who went today down in Hoover. A lot of optimism about the Doors. Coming off 6 wins last year, a trip to the Independence Bowl. They believe they can be even better this year with so many of those guys back. Ralph Webb making the decision to forego the NFL draft and come back for his senior season, where he has an outside shot at possibly catching up to Herschel Walker for the all-time SEC rushing record. He'd need a monster year, but a monster year could get him there. That's how good he's been up to this point, and now he's back for this Vanderbilt team, which is absolutely huge. They, of course, need Kyle Shermer to take a step forward this year. Meanwhile, Tennessee, they're looking for a quarterback. Will it be Quentin Dormady? Will it be the redshirt freshman Jarrett Garantano? One of those guys will have to step up and take over for Butch Jones' team in the absence of Joshua Dobbs, who's now a member of the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Vols are coming off a bit of a disappointment, although don't tell Butch Jones that. He did not want to use that word at all yesterday, but 9 wins last year, given the expectations of the hopes for an SEC championship or at least a division title, hurt. That was a disappointment. No matter what you want to say, it fell flat on the expectation scale. But Butch Jones did make some points yesterday, and we'll get to him in just a moment, about the long process of building a program. And from where he took over the program to where it is now, there's no question Tennessee football is in a better place. There's just no question. It is a much better job. It is a much better program today than it was when he took over for Derek Dooley 5 years ago. There's just no question about that. The question now is, how does he get it to the next step? He believes that they continue to build depth that wasn't there when he took over, and frankly wasn't there last year when they were riddled by injuries throughout that season. Now a lot of guys got experience last year. You keep recruiting well. Now the depth starts to build a little bit more. You've got a lot of those young guys with more experience. So you add that experience, you add that depth, and some of the adversity that these guys have faced over the past few years. And maybe now you have a chance to surprise some people this year. Many on the outside believe this is when the Vols take a step back after the last couple of years. I think there's a belief within the room at Tennessee that they've now got things going in a place where they can just win 8 or 9 games. And then you hope to build on that and get the veteran leadership in there to win 10 games or compete for a championship. I don't know if this is a championship caliber team at Tennessee, but I don't know if they drop back as far as some people maybe expect either. Butch Jones, a confident guy, a more straightforward guy yesterday, with the exception of dealing with the disappointment topic. Here's Butch Jones at SEC Media Days in Hoover.
Hey, Coach. Charlie Burris, Orange and White Report in Knoxville. Past John Kelly, what's the running back situation looking like?
Well, again, it starts with John Kelly, and then that's going to be a position group that we're going to be forced to play some younger football players. And Carlin Filzami had a very good spring. He's had a very good offseason. He's going to be critical to that group. And then we're going to have to rely on 3 very talented freshmen as well. And the great thing about that group is John is kind of pushed them and molded them, but also the younger players are pushing John and Carlin as well. But it's going to be a group that we're going to be very, very young there.
Actually, up here in the front left side.
Hey, Coach. Brandon Sudge with the Macon Telegraph. So I sort of had a 2-part question on Mike Abernathy. Can you kind of take me through how his rehab has gone with his shoulder, and what type of production are you expecting from him coming into his junior year?
Yep. Well, I tell you what, Mike Abernathy's coming along very, very well, and he's full strength right now, and he's one of the leaders of our football team. And you know, that's a great, great story when you look at the dynamics of his family, in the Abernathy family, and his older brother played for us at Cincinnati, and very fitting that he won the Liberty Bowl with a kickoff return. And but his family's a great, great family. family, and he's a great indication of that. But he's one of our leaders. He's back at full strength, and the safety position in general is one of the most competitive position groups that we have. When you look at getting Evan Berry back, which is a big boost to us as well. Todd Kelly's now back healthy and has done a great job of really in the strength and conditioning area. And then you just mentioned Mike Abernathy. You look at Nigel Warrior. He's had a very good offseason and some very talented freshmen coming in as well. So that's a position group that we're going to lean on a lot.
Right side, third row.
Jim Johnson, Southern Pigskin. What, in your estimation, are fair and reasonable expectations for fans and media to have on your team?
Good question. Well, I know this is one of the great things of coaching at the University of Tennessee are the expectations are very high, and they're always very high. And I think as a competitor, you want to be in situations where the expectations are very high, and it matters, and it matters to a lot of people. I'm very proud of how far we've come in 4 years in our program, and you know, it's very, very difficult to win. It's very, very difficult to win in the Southeastern Conference. You know, I'm proud of the fact that we're only one of 3 teams that have won 9 games 2 years in a row in the Southeastern Conference. We just won our 3rd consecutive bowl game, and hasn't been done in 20 years at the University of Tennessee. But there's still a lot out there. There's still a lot that we need to accomplish. There's still a lot out there of you know, being competitive in terms of, you know, championships. And, you know, that's what we talk about all the time is we want to compete for championships year in and year out. So we've come a long way, but there's a lot. But obviously when you're at Tennessee, the expectations are very, very high. But I think if you step back and you really look at the narrative, there's a lot of great things and a lot of positive momentum that continues to really progress in our football program.
Left side in the back.
Yeah, Butch, David Cobb from the Chattanooga Times Free Press. With John Currie placing an early emphasis on fan experience and looking ahead to Neyland Stadium renovations, is there anything in particular that you would like to see to enhance the experience for football fans there?
You know, I just think you use the term experience, and that's exactly right because, you know, obviously we have the best traditions in all of college football. We have great pageantry in Neyland Stadium, and it starts first and foremost with the best fan base in America. However, you know, again, it gets back to an experience, and, you know, the fans in today's world of college athletics and the world of college football, they have a lot of options. You know, they can sit at a sports bar, they can sit in their living room, and they can choose. So when they come to our venue, it's got to be an experience. And I know that's something that, you know, we've spoke about and we'll continue to grow and evaluate. But I tell you what, we've had a great home field advantage in terms of our crowd and all that. So again, the thing you can't put a price tag on is the pageantry and traditions that surround game day at Tennessee.
On the right side, last row.
John Wilkerson, Sports Radio, WNML Knoxville. Coach, you made a lot of changes to your staff. What have the meeting rooms have been like with this new blood, and how different is it to not have Don Mahoney on your staff first time as a head coach?
Yeah, well, first of all, you know, the changes have been very, very healthy, and I think it's elevated the excitement level. It's also, you know, as players, I think it's really accelerated the competitive aspect of things because it's like I told our players, you know, a lot of these individuals had new coaches, is you're responsible for what you create with your identity and your football identity. And I think when you add the individuals of the caliber that we have, a lot of them have been former head coaches. You look at a Brady Hoke, he's been a conference coach of the year in 3 different leagues. Been a great resource for me, a great resource to our players, a great resource to Bob Shoup. You bring in a Charlton Warren who served 10 years in the United States military in the Air Force. So he brings a complete different dynamic and perspective, and he's a really good football coach. And then Kevin Beard coaching our wideouts. He's going to put the cleats on and run routes with the kids, and you know, he's interacting like that all the time. And then Mike Canales, I think, is the best developer of quarterbacks. I've felt that way for 20 years and have known him for a long time. And then obviously Larry Scott brings a whole nother dynamic to the offensive coordinator position. And then Walt Wells is an individual who has had numerous opportunities to coach in a number of places. He understands the state of Tennessee. He's embedded in the state of Tennessee, and he's an individual that I was able to watch in our football program. And that's the unfortunate things in coaching, is you develop and you build relationships with families, and it's incredibly hard on the families, and it's incredibly hard on myself and my wife. And Don Mahoney's one of those individuals that has been with us a long time. I love him, I love his wife, and I love his kids. And that's the unfortunate part of this business, but sometimes you have to sit back, and I'm the caretaker of Tennessee football, and you have to run an organization and do what you feel is necessary.
Left side here, second row.
Butch, you mentioned the enthusiasm and the expectations. Is it easy to ignore some of the criticism that can come your way, especially with social media being the way it is?
Yeah, I don't ever, concern myself with that. Again, we have a plan, we're following the plan, and that's kind of the world that we live in. And so again, if you find yourself even spending 1 second of your time worried about that or investing in that, that's taking away from all your other priorities that you have to do.
I think we have just about time for one last question. In the middle on the camera.
Hi, Coach. Molly Walsh with the Tuscaloosa News. We're working on a project called Should Your Kid Play High School Football? We want to know your take on it and why or why not.
Well, I'm living proof of it. I have a son who'll be a junior at Knoxville Catholic. He plays football, and one of the great things I did this summer is I had an opportunity to go be a dad and took him around the different football camps and just kind of sit up in the stands and not be a coach and be dad. And so I'm living proof of it. I want my sons, I encourage them to play football. I think football is one of the great life lessons, and we always talk to our players, football's life just sped up a lot faster. I think they've done a great job. I speak from a parent now of really impacting the safety of the game. So again, I'm obviously a big proponent, and I live it with my son.